Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing MareAnguis in the 5-minute pool on ICC. Let's open with e4 against this Grandmaster and see what we get today. Pretty strong player, 24-10, 5-minute rating. Okay, let's play d4, and we're going to get an open Sicilian. Ooh, and they're playing the Kalashnikov. Shout out to Tony Rotella, author of the Killer Sicilian. Okay, I'm going to play in the way that I know best. But Tony wrote a book on this line. He's a frequent viewer of this channel. Comments a lot too. You may have seen him in my Lee chess tournaments. And I wish I had his knowledge right now. Okay, let's play c4. This is a line I played against Alex Shabalov when I was like 16 years old at the Foxwoods Open in 2003, I think. And we're following in very similar footsteps to that game. I know that white often has a choice of which way to capture on d5, and he's playing very similar to how Shabalov played. I'm going to stick this bishop here. I want to try to exploit black's queenside eventually. So if I can kind of fix their pawn structure, that would be beneficial. In fact, we got a similar pawn structure here. I was able to, in that Shabalov game, attack the b5 pawn effectively, using this b4 move to try to fix the pawn. Okay, so queen b8. Let's go queen d2 just to connect our rooks and also attack a5. And he's going with the Yardbird maneuver. The Eric Lobron maneuver. Okay, let's play queen over here. Just trying to stop bishop b6 for now. I'll probably play rook fb1. I might want to leave this rook here where it can participate on the queen side. Yeah, let's do this because if knight f4, I think I'm okay dropping this bishop back. Maybe I'll have a decent crack at this pawn after all. Okay, let's... Maybe g3 is worth considering. Nah, let's do this right away. We'll attack b5. I think there's a real possibility they're going to aggressively push on the king side, like now f5. But I like the progress I've made on this wing. My rooks aren't so great. I'm going to have to get them back in the game. But other than that, this is looking pretty good. Okay, so taking might lead to the destruction of my center before I would like. So let's do this. Maybe bishop b6 now, though. Yeah, and I got to watch out for tactics here. I think king h1 is a useful move. So let's do that. I'm a little bit behind on the clock, but I'm trying to play relatively quickly. So king h1, I'm just trying to get out of the way of this diagonal. I don't want black playing queen a7 and me being forced to take on b6, for one thing. Yeah, I'm fully aware that this doesn't make a great impression. Possibly rook fb1 on move 19 wasn't a good idea. We'll find out. So the king side has opened up a little bit, but with black's queen being here, it does block the resources that they can transfer over to that wing. So for the moment, this might be okay. I feel like I should get this rook over. Let's do that. Maybe rook c6 will be an idea somewhere down the line. Sack and exchange to try to get at the b5 pawn. I'm not going to play g3 because I feel like that would weaken my king side too much. Can I take with a bishop on b5? I think I can. Bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and then the rook is hanging at the end of that line. I think I can do that. I could also play like take and then rook c8, but I think this is a better way forward, so let's try it. Possibly I had that on the previous move. This loose rook on a7. Weird tactical operation. I don't know. I'm kind of concerned that they're going to send the rook over and just play it as a sacrifice, but we'll see. This Grandmaster is anonymous. I looked at their finger notes. Anonymous Hungarian Grandmaster? Yes, Hungary. Okay, let's pre-move this capture. If they trade and then play, say, rook a f7, I think I'm going to send my bishop right back to f1, although I then lose b4, don't I? So maybe I should trade on e8 first. And I'll try to make use of that extra queenside pawn gradually. Might have to secure my king first. I mean, there's a very real possibility there, but hopefully over time we can make use of that. Here, queen takes b5, queen takes a7, queen e2 could be played, and it looks like we might get something like that. Maybe they're going to go knight takes g2. Does that really work, though? I don't know about this. Okay, I recognize that e4 is loose, but you're playing awfully aggressive, Mare. Okay, so clearly I have to defend against the mate threat. Do I play queen g1 or rook g1? I would think that rook g1 is the preferred move here, but ooh, I see some nasty tactics involving knight h3. Okay, I'm going to go queen g1, actually. I'm a little scared. I'm a bit scared of certain things. He's going to take on e4, after which I have to address the knight h3 problem. So I'm going to go rook e1, I think, after that. But knight h3 is a move I have to be paranoid about, I think. I can't afford not to. Time's about even. I have all my pieces on the back rank, but I am up an exchange plus a pawn for the moment. So queen takes e4, rook e1. Is that the plan right now? Maybe even rook f1, but somehow rook e1 seems better. Maybe rook f1, though, because why chase the queen? That's just going to encourage black to gobble my pawns anyways. So why am I trying to force him to make good moves? Ah, knight there. I didn't see that move, clearly. Aggressive. So knight f2, how do we deal with that? Rook f1 or h3, one of those two moves. I think h3 is probably better. Knight f2 check, king h2. If king takes, or queen takes e4, I can play rook f1 then. And fight for survival. Could they play rook h3 here? Or rook f3, rather, trying to set up rook takes h3 checkmate. I guess I can just take it, though. He's running low on time. Okay, so here, I was going to go rook f1. Still good, still good. All right, let's do it. If queen f4, g3. Don't want to call anything quite yet, but I think I might survive this, as long as I don't blunder. Okay, so g3 is getting mated, and knight g4 is a threat. I think I got to take, therefore. But then he takes with the rook. Huh. What is the threat? Is there a threat? I mean, knight g4 is not that big of a threat. I can always just repeat against that. Rook takes f2 is pretty risky after rook takes f2. I can't really be better there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do this. We're both low on time, so we might see a repetition here. I don't know how much he wants to gamble. He's lower on time. I mean, I could gamble with this move, but I don't know how smart that is. Take, rook takes. I've already played rook e1. I feel like that's not smart. I'm going to offer the repetition if he wants it. Yeah, draw agreed. I think that's fair. I mean, the rest of the game would just be a time scramble. It's probably about equal at the end. Okay, so let's first identify a couple moments where I'll be curious to see what the engine thinks. I blockaded the queenside with this b4 move, but I'm not sure about rook fb1. In hindsight, I probably should have played rook ab1. I wanted to keep my a2 pawn defended, but at this stage, I think it's unlikely black's going to take on b4 anyways, because if they do, I could take with the knight, and I would be defending a2 a couple times. So, yeah, rook fb1 was too fancy, I think, and I later regretted the fact that I boxed my rooks in the corner. I think this tactical operation is fine with bishop takes b5. I didn't work everything out, black sacrificing the exchange. I kind of just took a flyer on that position, and I don't know. It didn't seem like black was crushing me in any way, so I decided it was all right. I think they would have been better off just playing right here after queen g1, just queen takes e4, and not worrying about this knight d3, knight f2 business. Or after knight d3, h3, just taking on c1 and then taking on e4, trying to gather some pawns. It seemed like they thought their attack was stronger than it really was. Maybe the maximum that MareAnguis will get for their exchange here is just winning back my exchange or winning some pawns. Checkmating me seems impossible, though. I have too many defensive resources around my king. Or if not impossible, it seems a little far-fetched. So, okay, let's go back and see this one. An open Sicilian and the Kalashnikov variation, e5. So this is a relative of the Sveshnikov variation, which is knight f6, knight c3, and then e5. In both cases, white wants to go knight b5. It's the best move. In these lines where a quick e5 is played by black in the Sicilian, usually knight b5 is the prescription. If I retreat the knight to f3 or b3, then that may cede black the initiative, like they can play knight f6 and attack this pawn quickly. If knight c3, black can play bishop b4 and pin. Whereas with knight b5, we're giving them something to think about with the weak d6 square. So hence black plays d6. There are some players who will play like knight f6 here. What else have I seen? I think a6 is also playable, going for this line, and queen f6 proposing a queen trade. I'm not an expert on these lines, but I know some ideas. So d6, and I played knight 1 to c3. It's also possible for white to play c4, and I think c4 is considered theoretically more challenging to black's position. Again, Tony will probably show up in the comments and say, since he was the author of the aforementioned book. I'll also post that game I had against Shabalov. It was a cool game. And, okay, so after c4, take. Here I have an option to take. E takes is more dynamic than c takes, but I've always been partial to this pawn structure and trying to play against black's a6 and b5 pawns. Knight f6, I just defend on e4. Start maneuvering this knight. Clearly, I don't want my knight hanging around on a3 for very long. Let's start the engine up right around here after castling. So black played bishop g4. This is a standard Kalashnikov maneuver. So they tried to create some weakness of this diagonal by inducing f3. That also makes it easier for them to play knight h5 and then knight f4 or pawn f5 later, because white's queen is no longer attacking the h5 square. So bishop d7, bishop e3. And here I played b4. The computer says better to just play knight a3. Yeah, I don't know about a5. a5 to me seems incorrect because you're playing on the side of the board where white would like to play. Even though black has more space with their queenside pawns at the moment, these pawns can be subject to attack, and a5 seems weakening. b5 loses a defender. They do control b4, but this pawn could prove a liability. I played b4 because I didn't want this pawn to advance to b4 and allow black to encroach further on this wing and get this pawn off an attack square. But maybe it's better to go knight a3 and actually actively encourage this. Maybe I can get my knight into c4. The computer is wild about white's position, so yeah, I could have tried this. So b4, queen b8, and this is a nifty maneuver. I call this the Lobron maneuver because Eric Lobron did this against me. That was in one of the videos where my sound wasn't working, so you guys never saw that game. But yeah, very similar thing happened when I played him. Bishop d8 to b6. So queen d2. B takes a5 is also a recommendation, trying to get into the b4 square quickly. So maybe this plan of pressuring black's queenside is just too slow on the whole. It's very possible. So queen d2, bishop d8. And I played this to stop bishop b6. I just didn't want black to effortlessly get in a bishop trade, but given that they can play rook a6 and then bishop b6, it's possible that this is too slow. Maybe I should play rook ab1. The computer likes rook fc1. Although I must say the c-file I'm a little uncertain about, because you can see how many squares black covers along the c-file. There's not really a clear infiltration point. A4. It's a cool looking move. I just saw the engine recommend that. So if takes here, play b5, and then the point is if they take, I guess we can go and pin this bishop to the black queen. Sometimes you do have like a counter breakthrough like that with 4 pawns clustered together. And black has like a prisoner's dilemma to make in regard to these pawns. Whichever one they take, you might push past or take the other pawn. So that's probably why the engine likes it here, in view of b takes a4, b5. And also if here, I would assume taking on b5. Yes, a takes b5. Yeah, and maybe something like this is going to backfire for black. Queen takes b4 at the end with a pin on that undefended queen on b8. Yeah, that's a nice motif to remember, a4. Didn't cross my mind at all during the game, although I have played this type of move before. Okay, so I played queen f2, yeah, knight h5, and black did start getting a significant amount of play once their kingside pawns crept forward. Well, kingside pawn, that f pawn came up to f5, and knight f4 was working. Yeah, and rook fb1, I said this was a move I was going to look at with the engine. I think I even determined it myself before looking at the engine, but I should have played this rook to b1 if I'm going to use a rook at all. No sense in boxing this one into the corner. I think I'm biased because I'm pretty sure I did this move against Shabalov, and that move like stuck in my head, so, you know, if something worked previously, you're more likely to play it in the future. Positive associations. So, but yeah, there was no reason to use that rook. This one was perfectly fine, and if a takes b4, opening up the rook on a2, I can just take, and it's defended by both my knight and my queen. So rook fb1, a4. Black closes it down, and now there's definitely no reason to have this rook arrangement now that the position is closed. Knight a3, knight f4. I drop the bishop back. I don't want to give up my dark square bishop. This would be positional suicide if I did this. Not only is bishop b6 a threat, but my dark square bishop is too valuable. I have established all these pawns on light squares. I can't just part with that piece easily. Probably the only legitimate exchange I would make for that dark square bishop is for black's dark square bishop. So, bishop f1 and now f5. And it felt like black was taking the initiative here. I was a little nervous at this point, because I got to make a lot of moves to kind of unwind these rooks and also secure my king. So king over here. Take. Rook a7. Rook a7 did afford us this opportunity, though, on b5, which I didn't appreciate right away, but I tried to pick up on the next move. Yeah, here I can take with the knight. Yeah, so knight takes might also be possible instead of the bishop takes move, because it works the same way. I mean, we're still attacking a7 this way. So I could have done it right here. Knight takes b5. Instead, I played rook c1 here, and now bishop takes. Yeah, bishop takes or knight takes. I think I like the idea of attacking their bishop as well, so that's why I went with that. They took here, take, knight takes. Okay, so here they had a good move with just rook b7, double attacking the knight and saving the rook. So that would force me to move this knight away, and then they take b4. And most likely black's pieces are just more active than mine, and they have targets they can go after, like e4, for instance. Yeah, my knight on a3 doesn't make a good impression over here. Definitely black's better. This was a key moment, because here's where black decided to sack the exchange, which the computer absolutely hates. It says I'm clearly better after this, even though I've got some serious threats to tend to. So I played queen g1 here. Seems like rook g1 is better. But you know what I didn't like about this move? I thought that queen takes e4 was a problem. threatening knight h3. Why did I think knight h3 was such a big deal, though? I can always just play rook f1 if they do that. This looks a little scary, but yeah, I mean, I don't see how black's going to hurt me immediately. The engine was even saying grab the a4 pawn. And if here, yeah, just go here. They have a check they can give. We can sidestep or even give up an exchange. That's probably better. Yeah, and they have a weak back rank too. This was tough, though, because they're putting me under pressure, and it appears like I'm on the defensive. So during the game, it looked a lot scarier than it is now in analysis. So rook g1, probably better than queen g1. Yeah, now here, I was criticizing knight d3. I really thought that just queen takes e4 was better. And it felt like with these weak pawns and the idea of knight h3 in the air, that I would have a hard time of it. But again, the computer is completely unimpressed by this knight h3 move, attacking the queen. Rook e1 counterattacking. Queen takes d5, queen e3, and white is going to escape. Black has a harmless check here, but we're getting free. Okay. So they played knight d3, and I played h3. Rook f1 is a bit better, but after rook f1 check, I'd have to give up the exchange. And I didn't like black's activity here, although I am still up a pawn. I don't know for how long with e4 being weak. But the b pawn could be a trump in the endgame. You never know. So I played h3. Yeah, and here they went after the check on f2 and my king, but maybe just knight takes c1. Queen takes, probably not, so I don't give up the a pawn. Queen takes e4. The engine says equal. Somehow I think I'd still take black here. But given the amount of time we had, I think any result is possible now. So check, king h2, take e4. They try to keep the initiative going, and I marshal my forces around my king. I actually felt like I was going to win at this stage. It was starting to seem that way, but ooh, so there's even a twist here at the end. So the problem after queen h4 is black is threatening knight g4 check followed by knight f2 as in the game, but I can't play g3 to attack their queen because queen takes h3 is mate. So I didn't see a good way to kind of back them off. I mean, I could sack on f2, but I really feel like I could be worse if I do that. That would just be a play I would make to play off of their low time, but yeah, that's not a great idea. So I did this. It looks like I should have just pushed the pawn. We might have a similar idea. But they could have played rook f3 at the end, huh? So like in the game continuation here, this amazing move was possible. Threatening rook takes h3 check, g takes h3, queen takes h3 mate. So this would force me to give up the exchange. Wow. I can't recall if I saw that in the game. I mentioned something about rook f3, but I don't know if it was exactly on this move. Now check here, rook takes, and black is better. I'm pretty boxed in over here. Still have my b pawn, but black is for choice. But as played, we were both getting low on time, so he took the perpetual. I think fair result of this game. So entertaining draw. I'm sure there was some tactical nuances that could be analyzed in greater detail, but I think I did a reasonable job of showing you the key moments here. If there was one move I could take back, rook fb1. That was not smart at all. That was kind of short-sighted based on my success in that previous game against Shabalov. Good game, MareAnguis, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And thank you all for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Talk to you guys later. Bye.